please introduce LUNAR to our viewers?
LUNAR is a progressive metal band based out of the California area, Northern California, but the members are all spread out all over the country. Most of us actually live in California, except Chandler, the vocalist, lives in New York. So we've got Chandler on vocals, Brian Lewis does the growl vocals, myself on drums, Alex Bosson, Ryan Price does bass, Balmore Lemus on guitars, and Alex Nasla on keyboards.
Nice. What drives you as an artist to create music?
Music has always been something that has come very natural to me. I think it's been, in my blood, so to speak, since day one. As long as I can remember, it's always what I've wanted to do. But in terms of what inspires me still, I get inspired by listening to a lot of the bands that I like, obviously, and then writing about real world events, things that have happened to me that generally are the depressing, sad kind of things, and try and spin them into a positive light, into something that can be helpful.
And where does the band's name come from?
I wish there was a better story to go with this one, but there's not. I always feel like there should be some deep, profound meaning to it, but there isn't. When we started the project, it was myself and the original guitarist, Ryan Irwin, and he and I were discussing that, the project needed a name, obviously, and we had no ideas for anything, so we started, saying, well, how do we think our favorite bands out there came up with their names? And so we were talking about bands like Tool, and then Opeth came up, and I had told him that I read that Opeth was supposed to be a fictional city on the moon, and then we started talking about moon stuff could be cool, started spitting out words, Lunar was one of them, and said, yeah, that one sounds good, and it just stuck.
I still think it's a cool story. So tell us about your newest album. What's the title of that?
The new album is called The Illusionist. It will be out on March 3rd on Sabot Reigns Records. It is another concept album, an epic story centering around a magician character who has basically has worked his entire life at his craft and is questioning it at this point. He's questioning, is all the hard work that he's done worth it? Is he even good at what he does? Is this worthwhile to support himself and his family? Or is it time to give it up, basically?
So what inspired the lyrics on this release? And if you could provide a couple of examples.
I think it's real world application. For me, obviously, it's music and not magic. But I think it's something that a lot of musicians go through, especially when we're talking about independent metal musicians. We put a lot of hard work into our craft. Something that for me personally, that I've been working towards since I was a teenager, and sometimes you question, all the money, all the time that is invested in it, and a lot of times you don't see any return on it. You get treated like your job is a hobby, even though you've worked at it for 20 years or more. And sometimes when you self-fund an album or a tour or something, you're taking a loss financially, and it becomes very hard to justify what you're doing. And so, I think it's something that a lot of people could hopefully relate to, that aspect of, of questioning, putting so much of your heart and soul into something for so long.
And what is the story behind the album cover artwork?
The album cover artwork, I think, is fairly self-explanatory. It's basically just supposed to be the main character of the story, the Illusionist himself. It's the cover is him on stage taking a bow, and you just kind of are having a glimpse into his world on this stage that from one look you say it may look like something glamorous, that he's in the spotlight taking a bow, but also you can see that he's aged and tired and worn, and maybe the stage, the place he's performing isn't so nice, and it's just meant to kind of encompass that whole story.
And this is a different artist than prior?
Yes, the artist is Travis Smith for this cover. He's very well known in the metal world, done tons of amazing covers for albums of Opeth, Catatonia, hundreds probably. The previous album covers were done by my father, Ed Bosson, and he was not able to do this one, so I wanted to bring on somebody that I knew had the reputation of putting, taking the story and putting a beautiful cover to it, and he certainly did an amazing job.
All right. Are there any new albums that have caught your ears?
New albums that have caught my ears. I think most recent ones that I've been listening to as of late would be the new Riverside album is very good. Arguably, in my opinion, possibly one of their best. It's up there with Love, Fear, and the Time Machine. And then the new Catatonia album, Sky Void of Stars, that one I have been loving a lot lately.
And tell us a little about the local music scene here.
The music scene here is pretty good. There's a lot going on. I feel like there are a lot of metal bands that are based in Sacramento or based in the greater Northern California area. There's a lot of people here, and so that I feel like we get a fair amount of good local talent. There's a good range of clubs, I feel like, from the small little dive bars to the big arenas and everything in between. And Sacramento itself has been growing a lot more, so even a lot more of the national and international tours are starting to come through here, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I feel like we have a pretty good scene around here.
Nice. What are the future plans for LUNAR?
With this band, we kind of just take it one step at a time. We see where things are going to go. Right now, we're pushing this album that is coming out in a couple weeks. We would like to be able to get this band on the road at some point, but again, it's sometimes not realistic for an independent band, and especially one with members spread out all over the country. Sometimes it's very difficult to find a way to do live performances and make ends meet, especially when so many of us have families to support, So I would like to say that we're going to get the band on the road at some point. Hopefully we will. And aside from that, we'll just see after this one. I'm sure we'll do another album. Don't know when. When the inspiration hits, we'll do it.
Okay. Tell us. Why does metal rule? And if you think it doesn't, then why are you playing in a metal band?
Metal sucks. Let's see. Why does metal rule? So many reasons. I'll get the biggest ones for me. Progressive metal in general is what I've always been drawn to for its diversity. The fact that it encompasses so much more than just metal, which I don't feel like most other genres can do. You can have a progressive metal song that, is going to have death metal parts and can transition into jazzy parts. But if you went and saw a jazz band and they started busting out death metal vocals, I don't think the crowd would enjoy it, So I've always appreciated it for that, for the diversity aspect. And then also the camaraderie, I'll say, when it comes to the people itself. Metalheads, to the outside world often are viewed as the scary Satan worshipping evil people, but nothing could be further from the truth. 99% of the metalheads that I've met in my life are the sweetest people ever, and all about support and building each other up, and that's what the metal scene is. It's what it is here, and that's what I feel like it is in most places all over the world, is just that we have this connection to each other instantly, and so that's why metal rules to me.
I agree. All right, Mr. Boston, it's been nice having you today.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Okay, bye.